You're listening to Greetings from Austin. I'm Elisa.
And I'm Jenny.
We're here to share all things lifestyle, real estate, design, and more.
As Austin natives and agents with combined 28 years experience, we're excited to bring you new episodes weekly.
Thanks for joining us today. Now more than ever, it's important to make sure your home is looking its absolute best before showings. We're going to walk you through some of our tips for preparing your home to list and show, starting with the prep work before listing and ending with the things that you can do before every single showing.
This is episode 2, Preparing Your Home for Showings.
So let's start by talking about curb appeal. First impressions really matter. So when was the last time that you walked outside of your house and looked at it from the opposite side of the street? Honestly, I don't know the last time that I did that.
Yeah.
That came to mind because I've been told before that if you're driving clients in your car for showings, you should park opposite from the house so that they have to walk up to the house from farther away, because you just see the whole house and kind of get the big picture. And I kind of think it's true.
That. I never knew that, and I've never heard of that.
Really?
But I will say that curb appeal is so important that I'm sure you've had this too, but where people didn't even want to go in.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be a great house
they
inside.
Didn't like the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you don't have the outside, because, right when it comes on the market or the internet, they see it on Zillow or something, they'll rush over and drive by before they, back in the old markets, and call us, to see it if they liked the outside.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important. And I think if you do that on your own house and you walk outside and you look at it from far away, you're kind of doing that, and you're stepping outside of where you live every day, and you're just looking at it in a new light. So power washing is one of my favorite things. If you're going to do something outside in the front of your house, power wash your driveway and your sidewalks, power wash your exterior of your house if it's really dirty, and, pull weeds. Think about where your trash cans are at. If they're sticking out in the front of your house, is that the thing that you want people to see when they first drive up? And then little things like even just as you're walking inside, think about putting a new porch mat out, and think about how your door opens and closes. I know that as agents, we walk into a lot of houses, and sometimes if you're struggling to get a door open, your clients notice. They're like, oh, is there something wrong with the house because the door doesn't open right, or it's hard to lock or unlock? So think about those things. And sometimes, adjusting your door can be easy, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah, and you might need to get it rekeyed if it's like, oh, you have to turn it a little bit this way and then that way. It's like a realtor's never going to figure that out. So it's, and you definitely don't want to miss out on a showing. So the easier, the better.
Yeah, I've had to call listing agents before because I couldn't get into a house. And it's like, oh, well, there's this certain trick where you have to jiggle the door just so, pull it to the left, push it to the back, It's like, I would have never figured that out.
No. Yeah, but curb appeal is just so important because that's the first thing that people see when they go up to the house. And I know we've both experienced this, but driving up to the house and then the people don't even want to go in, and you've already scheduled an appointment. I remember there was this one time when we drove up to the house and the woman was just adamant, like, I'm not going in the house. And she was just kind of throwing a fit with me. I was like, I really suggest that we see it. This is a really great house. And I got her to go in the house, and she bought it. And years she would just she was being so adamant about not going in, but and she thanked me for many years.
That's amazing. That's a good story, because sometimes, it doesn't always work out that way, but then, sometimes too, I feel bad for the sellers who have done a lot to get their house ready for a showing, and then you don't actually show their house, or you don't have any feedback to provide, and it all started at the front door.
That's right. And, when people see it come online, that is one of the first things that they do in a normal market where houses aren't flying off. That's the first thing they do is drive by to see if they even want to see the inside. And then they let us know to, set up a showing. But you can't, you don't want to risk missing out on a showing.
And I feel like it's always of course, there's a lot of things that you can do, but for the outside of your house, many times it's minimal work, minimal effort. It doesn't take that much to power wash or, just make sure your house looks good. Like things like hiding your trash cans. That doesn't take a lot, but it helps.
And maybe patching some grass and putting black
Mm-hmm.
mulch, those things really, really help too. Yeah, just
Yeah,
making sure your front door
landscaping.
doesn't have cobwebs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't even go through their front door
No.
on a normal basis, they go through the garage. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
one thing you really got to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't go through my front door very often at all.
Yeah.
We have a garage that's located on the side of our house, and so if you have a side located garage, that I think you go through your front door even less.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So next we're going to talk about major repairs and remodels. Sometimes it's hard for buyers to envision what a home could be. If it's dark or dated or smells bad or damaged, it's hard to know what to do to improve your property. First, before we go into this, first and foremost, I would meet with a realtor that knows the area and get their opinion on what they suggest you do, because we would never want you to put in money into something and not at the very least get the money back. We would the recommendations we make, we would like to, exponentially help you and get return on those suggestions. So, number one is, if it's more cosmetic in nature, then it could be a good idea to remodel a house. One thing that makes a huge difference is paint. So if you're,
Mm-hmm.
I've had people paint the entire house, um, like a lighter color. If they have a lot of different colors in the rooms that buyers might not like, then I sometimes they do suggest they paint the whole thing. And then if the
Mm-hmm.
trim has been damaged or is yellowed, it's good to get that painted as well. That's really just could make a huge difference on how your house shows. And you know,
Yeah.
if your house is older, like a lot of the 80s, they use that dark paneling, and it can just be
Mm-hmm.
depressing in a house. And you paint that white and it just looks so much better. Makes a big difference.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So, if you want to take it a step further, you could also get new countertops, maybe new backsplash, and maybe new appliances. It really depends on so many things. But if your kitchen is super dated, and you and your realtor think that would really help it, it's not too bad to go and do that. So
Mm-hmm.
once you get
Not
into
like replacing all the cabinetry.
Right. Yeah. I mean, painted
Mm-hmm.
cabinets, can be better, or if they're already good like they are, leave those.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just countertops that would help, but the kitchen and the bathrooms are really the most important to update.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get into moving walls and like changing the layout, you get into like gutting the home. That's probably more for your just if you're going to live there and stay there a long time. I think it would be hard to recoup the money spent. I mean, again, depending on the house, but I don't think that would be such a great idea to do just for marketing the home for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And some houses are valuable just for the land and will likely be torn down. In that case, it's really best just to clean it up and not spend the money to fix it, because it probably will just be wasted money. Just as an example, I'm also a builder, and found this house in Westlake. It was actually quite cute, but it was little. It was 1,600 square feet, and the lot was just gorgeous. So,
Huge.
what's that?
The lot was big for the house in that area too,
Yeah,
right?
I think it was like point 0.6 or point 0.8. It was over half an acre, and it was just nice,
Mm-hmm.
level. And they had just, I don't know when, but they had done new windows, new cabinets, new appliances, new light fixtures. And I
Wow.
felt awful tearing, I did sell a few things, then I had friends come and get a few things. But yeah, we tore that house down. So I just wish I could have gotten to those people sooner so they could have made more money, and then also just would have
Hmm.
been less stress on them just to sell it as is. So
Yeah.
about the remodeling, there are some vendors that will allow you to pay at closing. So if you don't have the money up front or want to keep it in the bank, that's a really good
Hmm.
option if you think that you need that.
Yeah. And I feel like, again, it's so dependent on a specific property and even location. Like if you're talking about the value of the land, that's location. And then specifics for the property, I've had some houses that really needed the roof replaced. And, you don't really want to leave it. What if there's a bad storm? What if we have hail and it makes it worse? What if water gets into your house and then you're having to make repairs on top of the roof replacement? So, having an agent come in and really help you decide what's most important to address is really important for those
Yeah,
bigger items like that.
definitely. I mean, I used to sell a lot of houses up north, and that's called Hale Alley. And I dealt with
Hmm.
so many roofs with people, and it's just so much better to
Yeah.
get it all taken care of up front because insurance companies can take a long time to come out. And
Hmm.
if it's insurance, and then, um, you know, if you catch it while you're under contract and they inspect it, it could be that the lender's not going to lend on the house if you don't do
Yeah.
a new roof. And then maybe the roofer is booked out, but then you have a buyer involved, and you could have a buyer that wants to pick out a different color or pick out a different shingle, or
Yeah.
it's just things that you don't really want to get involved in with a buyer. Some buyers are super
Hmm.
easy and you can figure it out, but it just adds another layer of stress and things to work out.
Hmm. Especially if it's something like that that can affect the standing of your home. If it could get worse and you put it on the market hoping that it won't, and then it does, you have to deal with that. Plus, like you said, the buyer and, then a specific color request or whatever it happens to be. And that's not always the case. I've had some transactions where the roof needed attention and both parties were fantastic. But
Yeah, on
don't
our
risk it.
on our Westlake one, when we had the buyers, it went
Hmm.
great, super smooth. We figured it out the best way possible, but that's definitely not always the case.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is a cool option that you can work with some vendors who are happy to get paid at the closing table. I think that's really helpful sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm. So now to kind of take it away from the major repairs and talk a little bit about small things you can do if your house needs a little facelift. These things could be low effort, high impact things that really can make a difference in the way your house looks, but won't cost a ton and won't take a lot of work. So one of my favorites is updating old hardware. So if you have a kitchen that has dated hardware and you want to, choose something more modern, I think you underestimate what that can do sometimes. It can really update the whole kitchen, the color of the cabinets and everything if you just change the hardware.
Just want to point out, like,
Uh-huh.
I get good hardware off Amazon and
Yeah, that's what I did for my house.
build.com
Yes.
and Amazon have, you just need to make sure you get the right brands that, are good, sturdy hardware. But
Yeah. I did Amazon hardware for my kitchen, and it was originally like this dated early 2000s, like chromy metal that was rounded. And I just chose something modern and black and straight lines. And I've been really impressed. I thought this might not be a great choice because it was really inexpensive, but I went for it and I've been super happy.
yeah.
They haven't chipped, they haven't had any issues.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of good brands. I went into the hardware store, like, that has appliances, plumbing, and hardware, and
Hmm.
found the brand that I like. But it's so, with hardware, it can be like booked out far, and then it's just a lot
Yeah.
harder. You can go online and get it, the same brand, in just a few days. So
Yeah.
I just pick and choose on what I buy online.
Yeah. And that's easy. I mean, of course, you can always hire a contractor if you want, but that's my kind of DIY project. You can give me a screwdriver and I will listen to a podcast and replace hardware all day. That's the thing I'll do. Ask me to paint a wall, not so much.
No, I don't paint.
No painting.
I used to
I'm
paint
done.
when we would do some of the remodeling ourselves, but I get paint everywhere.
Yeah, I do that too, and I'm just not very good at it.
Mm-mm.
I don't like it.
Me neither.
I don't like it. We repainted our whole entire house, baseboards, everything, like ceilings. I don't want to paint anything again.
Yeah.
But if you had like a single wall to paint, that's another one that's really easy and can make a difference. If you've painted your wall maybe a bright color, or if you have a wall that gets a lot of high traffic, if you have kids or dogs, putting a coat of paint on it, even if you don't like painting, is probably worth it. Or hire somebody to do it for you. And then another thing that you could do is replace lighting. That's one that I like to do also. It's easy. As long as you either do the whole area or your whole house and everything flows well, I think replacing lighting is a great one. And then replacing window coverings or moving window coverings. If you have curtains that maybe aren't placed properly, if you place your curtains higher and further out from your windows, it can really make a big difference on how big the rooms look. So I think that's an easy fix to make things look a little bit bigger or brighter. For the bathrooms, I think this doesn't apply every time, but new toilets, it's easy. If you live in an older home, or if you maybe have a toilet that's damaged, they're not all that expensive to just go ahead and replace. And new shower curtains. If your shower curtain is old or maybe it's dark, getting a white shower curtain is another really easy fix to make things look brighter and bigger.
Definitely. I like all of those. Nice, easy fixes that make a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next one, we're going to talk about organizing. So don't underestimate the power of organization. Our buyers are always impressed by a well-organized home, and we truly believe it makes a difference and helps potential buyers envision themselves there. Plus, this step makes packing a whole lot easier. Here's a pro tip. Nothing is truly private. People will open your fridge, your cabinets, your closet. It's all fair game. And yeah, I got to organize everything.
Don't let that intimidate you. Yeah. You don't have to like Marie Kondo yourself in a weekend, but
a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Or throw it in a box for later.
Yeah, I don't know about you, and I'm sure you've had this experience as well, but gone in after people have, done the suggestions, and they love it, and they're like, I am always going to live this way. I can't believe what a difference it makes.
Yeah. That's my family every time I organize anything in our house. Then they all want to be in that place.
Oh, yeah?
If you organize your child's room, then they're like excited to play there again.
Oh, wow.
I feel like that's how it is.
Oh, that's cute. My family just comes and messes it up right away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. But they love it.
Okay. And yours probably does too.
Yeah, they do.
It's easiest just to box up the things that might look like clutter, or just to get the room looking cleaner, things that you don't necessarily need. For example, like you could pack, if your closet is small and you need to make it look bigger, you could pack up your clothes that are out of season and box them up and just have them ready to go once you move. Your office, like paperwork, you could just box that up. What we've experienced is that if you start going through your closet and getting rid of things, and your especially paperwork and photos, that could really take a lot of time and probably unmotivate you to do the rest. So it's best just to box it up and deal with it later and focus on the priority items so that you can get through it. And if you have time later to go back through all that stuff, then that would be great. But if not, that's okay. Just move it and go through it later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Unless there's something you absolutely know you don't want, you could just easily toss it.
true.
Then, yeah, do it later.
Yeah. So spaces that don't have a ton of clutter in them, they feel so much bigger, and they just feel better. You walk in and
Mm-hmm.
rooms look bigger, and just buyers, you will like it as well if you do have a lot of stuff in your house. Most likely, you will like that declutter feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Being more organized will help you get out the door quicker for showings. Showings can happen, at the most inconvenient time.
Yeah.
Some people work, both of them work, and you have to just leave the house ready every single day. So imagine if you had to do a whole lot of things to get there every morning, how stressful that would be. It's really better just to get everything organized and try to stay that way.
Mm-hmm.
And we try it's best to keep your closets and garage organized too. These areas tend to be dumping grounds, and it's important that buyers access these areas as well, and that they see that they're nice and cleaned out and spacious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been into houses where you really can step like 1 foot into the garage and peek in because they put so many things there. And I think there's always like a balance. I think it's fine to put things in your garage and have things boxed up and ready to go and keep the interior of your home, you know, minimally decorated and furnished. That's usually the suggestion. But if you stuff your garage so full that people can't get in to look at like the water heater, or an inspector can't get in to access the attic, you end up making your job harder because then you're going to have to move stuff when it's time for an inspection just so the inspector can get in. And
Right.
that doesn't really help
And
at the
if
end
you
of the day. So
forget,
just to keep in mind.
yeah, if you forget, then the inspector will charge a trip charge, and
Yep.
then option period could need to be extended. So it's best just to
Mm-hmm.
do it all up front. At a minimum, make access to the areas in the garage that the inspector will need to get to. But best if it's all clean and organized if you can get to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And on this note, this wasn't on our list to talk about, but I think it's a really cool thing to mention. As you're organizing, if you have stuff that you want to donate, there are services that will come to your house and pick it up from you and to haul it off for you. No charge. You can schedule a time that works for you. There are even some that like you could just leave it somewhere, like you could leave it in your driveway and they'll come pick it all up. So I've used that before. It's really nice.
What company is this?
So there's like 3 companies in Austin. I'll have to send you the website,
Definitely. Okay.
but it's awesome. You can go on, you can see what applies. Like some of the companies take different items than others, so you want to look and see what works best depending on what you have to donate. But I've done it before when I had furniture pieces I didn't want to have to put in my cart and haul, or just had stuff that had piled up when I was going through things. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. If you have stuff in your garage that's waiting to be donated, don't let it clutter it up. Just have somebody come pick it up.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so next, clean, clean, and clean some more. I feel like cleaning is one of the easiest things that you can do to your house to get it ready, costs the least amount of money, and a lot of people don't clean enough, I think. I think it's not a bad idea to hire somebody to come out and clean your home professionally, and then you keep cleaning more because um, people, when they're looking at your house, they come in and they just look at things differently. Their house may look exactly the same as yours, and yet they're looking to buy your house, so they view it in a different light. And so I think you can't underestimate the power of a clean home. So that, would be things like windows, baseboards, floors. My sweet Mimi, she's a true believer in clean floors. She says 2 different things. She says, if your floors are clean, then your house is clean. And so, like, I live by that. If there are things or toys on the floor, your house doesn't look as clean. So it's a quick fix. And then she also says that you should mop until you have clear water. So you should
I
mop,
like
dump it
that.
out, and then keep mopping until the water is clear. And
It's a lot
hopefully
of
my
work.
Mimi doesn't listen to this, but I don't really get to the clear water very often. Maybe I would if I was listing my house, though. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. That would,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Mm-hmm. But that's she does it. She's come over to my house before and cleaned for me when I had babies, and she'll keep mopping until
I
the
love
floors
it. That's a
clean. That
sweet
has
grandmother.
clear water. She's
That's
the best.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then another tip, and I tell all my clients this: buy a huge thing of magic erasers and use them. They are magical. If you think you have to repaint a wall, just try a magic eraser on it first. Don't go and like scrub away at the wall because you will, you know, take some finish off there. But they do a really good job cleaning things that you think can't be cleaned. Um, and that goes for like light switches and doorknobs too. You could take a magic eraser to those also, but those are things that I feel like my clients point those out a lot. I think we don't clean light switches and doorknobs enough. And then also, you have people in your house touching it that you don't know. Sometimes it's a lot of people in your house. It doesn't hurt to wipe those things down even when your house is already on the market.
Yeah, for sure. And it's things that when you're living there, you don't necessarily notice. So it's
Yeah.
definitely looking at your house with a different set of eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just showing a house the other day and I noticed it walking through. I was like, oh wow, every single light switch is dirty.
Hmm.
And so, you do notice it as you're walking through.
Yeah.
And definitely more so if it's not your own home.
All of the things we just talked about can and should be done prior to ever listing your home. Well, we'd all love to do all the things. It's just not possible sometimes. Having an agent assist you in deciding on what your focus should be on and provide the best return on your investment is so important. We're here to set you up for success. So don't let these things overwhelm you.
Yeah, I think that's important to remember. You don't have to do all of it. Of course, if you could,
The better.
go for it.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
should try to do most of it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean,
But you
that's
can still sell your house without doing all of those things.
so much of our value does come in though with our assistance on getting the house ready. Like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
the dirty light switches, maybe they just didn't get good guidance. I walk into houses all the time where they didn't get
Yeah.
good guidance. I mean, I doubt they just said, no, I'm not doing that. I think
Mm-hmm.
just no one asked that they do it.
Yeah. And I think, again, these are our homes. We live here. You don't always think about wiping down every light switch in your house.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to really step back and look at it in a different light. And sometimes that's hard to do. So having an agent come in who can do that for you,
Yeah.
it makes it a lot easier. And I think that, then you can explain how much time you have, how much money you have to allocate to things that need to be done. And that's where your agent can really come in and help you decide what's best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we go through room by room and,
Yeah.
help make suggestions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes that's even moving furniture around.
Right.
I mean, that makes a big difference too. That's not on our list there, but I feel like that's a little bit more on the staging side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we have clients that don't want to pay for a stager or don't feel like they need to if they have enough furniture and things just need to be rearranged.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that too.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So now let's talk about the things that you should do before each and every showing. So, before you leave the house, if you're working out from, outside of your home and you need to have things ready during the day, just in case you have a showing scheduled during the day while you're gone, these are things that you can keep in mind to do. Then, if you're working at home, you could just keep a list of things handy that you could do before you leave for a showing. And this will make it a lot easier to get out the door quickly. So first off, do a fast pickup through your house. Just go through each room, pick up things that are out of place. Next, I like to put clean, white, plain bath towels in the bathrooms. I think it makes a big difference. So if you don't already use plain white bath towels or hand towels, then you could just have some towels set aside to just replace or even pull towels down from their hangers if you have towels on hangers. And then in the bathroom also, be sure to put toilet seats down take out the trash that goes for bathrooms and kitchen, clean and wipe down all countertops in bathrooms and kitchens, make the beds, vacuum or sweep the floors. And if you have time, don't forget to sweep the front porch too. And then locking valuables and medications away or taking them with you is always really important. And opening all of your interior doors, turning on all lights, and opening the blinds and curtains. You want your house to look bright and clean and open. And then, pro tip, don't use strong candles or room fragrances. I know sometimes we walk into houses and the scent of things can be a little bit overwhelming. And sometimes I've had clients think, like, what are they trying to hide?
True.
And maybe that's not the case at all. But I opt for something that's a little bit more mild, like a room spray. And right now, my favorite is Mrs. Meyer's in the lavender scent. It's like not very overpowering. It's really calming, and I really enjoy it in my own house.
I'll have to try that. Where do you get it?
I get it at Target.
I was going to say Target. It sounds like a Target thing.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Cool.
Yep, that's my favorite, but I know that makes a big difference.
And I've been liking those, I don't know what they're called, but the liquid with the sticks in them. What are they called?
The diffusers. The reed diffusers.
Yes.
Yes.
Because candles, also, another thing is I've had clients that will light candles and leave.
Yeah.
And that scares
Dangerous.
me. I don't like that.
Yeah.
In my house where I had people over and it had black on the inside of the glass and that all caught on fire and the candle had fire coming out. I mean, had we not been home or had someone not noticed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes it makes a difference if you're just running out the door for a showing, you plan to come right back. But even then, there's a time where it's going to be, unsupervised and lit. So I would say opt not to do a candle. And I agree. The reed diffusers, I didn't even think about that. But I think depending on the scent that you choose, those can be another great, more mild fragrance that's not so overwhelming. They don't let off a really strong smell.
Yeah. Like the one I got at Target recently.
What, do you remember the scent or the smell?
It's Meadowbrook. And I think it's like Chip and Joanna Gaines. I think it's their line.
Okay. I liked that smell the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I think staying away from things that have a strong odor, like I typically really like mint or eucalyptus, but not everybody likes that. And so I don't think I'd put it in my house for a showing. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I like the lavender idea.
Yeah. It's nice and calming too.
Yeah.
Keep your buyers calm.
Last but not least, here are some tips that will make things a little easier. So first thing in the morning, make your bed, especially if you aren't already in the habit. That way you'll have less to do if you have to rush out of the house for a showing. Keep your sink clear and don't wait for the dishwasher to be full to run it. Leaving stuff in the kitchen sink is just not good. Buyers will not like that.
No. And it's easy to do if your dishwasher is already jam-packed.
Yeah. Take anything that might get smelly out to the trash right away and don't throw it inside. Just don't risk it.
Mm-mm.
Keep wipes in all the kitchens and bathrooms and try to wipe down when you're in there. Elisa, I bet you do this on a normal basis.
I try. I mean, I have 2 kids. So.
I knew it. The laundry basket trick is keep an empty laundry basket, go through the house, pick up anything that's out of place before a showing, and then stick it in your car and take it with you. I love that one.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I think it's really great for people with kids. Or if you have dogs, pets, just pick it all up.
I guess you could leave it in the garage.
You could leave it in the garage.
If you've got a car full of kids and dogs and cats.
That's true. I think a laundry basket with some miscellaneous things, it's better in the garage than in the house.
Yeah.
But I always love that one for just, the times when everything isn't perfectly picked up and you're kind of scrambling. It's just easiest to just throw it into something and go through it later.
Yeah.
And you can bring it back inside from the garage or your car and sort through it right when you get back home.
And one thing we haven't talked about, touched on about showings is animals.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
didn't put anything on there.
litter boxes need to be clean and, I mean, in the garage if they can. But if the cats are there, obviously we realize that won't work. But just you do not want to have that animal smell. There's some people that don't like cats. There's people that don't like any animals at all. So everything just needs to be cleaned up and hopefully you can take your animal with you when you leave. It's best that they're not there at all. But we have recommendations if they just have to be there.
Yeah, there are workarounds for it. It definitely depends on the type of animal and the size, but if you can take the animal with you, and sometimes that's even like if you have their food bowls or their water bowls out, put those in the garage, stick them away somewhere where people can't see them. I think that also goes for pictures. As you're preparing your home for listing, or preparing it for pictures too. When people are looking at your house and they see animal stuff in a picture, I am sometimes surprised at how many people it turns away just from that.
From seeing the animal in the picture?
Not the animal in the picture, just animal things. And that sometimes it's people that maybe, don't like cat smell. And they're worried about a house smelling like cat.
And I know that we've had clients with allergies against cats or dogs, and that's also when they see that they get really worried that they're gonna have a reaction. I mean, if there really is an animal in the house, then you need to let them know. But definitely, if it's dirty and there's hair all over, then it's going to be more concerning. To the buyer.
More to clean for a potential buyer.
Yeah.
Especially if they do have something to worry about, like an allergy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe we left that one off. And I guess on that sort of same note, if you have kids, I have a little kid, so I know about diaper pills right now. Make sure the
toilets are flushed.
Yes, toilets are flushed. If you have little boys or girls, you don't flush the toilet. But diaper pills, absolutely. I feel like I've walked into houses where there's a nursery and they maybe take out all the other trash but forget about the diaper pail.
Oh, yes.
Oof. So don't forget the diaper pail. That's when, take it outside, stick it in the garage, make sure it doesn't smell bad. Maybe for a little while you don't use your diaper pail. Maybe you just put diapers straight into the trash can outside, put them in a bag first or something. But, it makes it easier for showings, I think. Some of this feels like that's so much work while you're trying to sell your house. But the whole point of all of this is that you can get out the door quickly, because that's the hard part.
Yeah. I mean, prepping in the first place is really the hard part. The better you set yourself up and think of these things beforehand, the more prepared you'll be and the quicker you can get out. You just have to live this in this rigid way for a while.
Who knows? Maybe you'll love it and you'll just do it forever.
Yeah. Some do. Some do.
Yeah. Yes. We'd all love to try, but yeah. Well, I think that's it for today. It's important to note that every house is different and our recommendations change per house. The things that we covered today come up often, but your home could be different. It is always best to have an agent out to your home to walk through your property and give you personalized recommendations for your house. Thanks for joining us today. If you have a real estate question you'd like for us to answer, all of our contact information is in the show notes. If you aren't in the Austin area and need to be connected with a real estate professional where you are, we can help with that too, so send us a message.
We're located in the Austin area and licensed in Texas under Realty Austin. While some of this information could apply to where you live, be sure and talk to a local agent in your area. Visit the show notes for more information and additional disclosures.